Why do y'all always talk about fashion when talking about Nana? Does nobody actually watch it and know what it's about? Let's talk about Kpop Demon Hunters, Nana, and the influence of fashion and history on my cosplays and cosplay content. Kpop Demon Hunters is a hit Netflix movie, and I'm sure most of us have seen something about it recently, whether it's been a discourse video, a cosplay, an informational video. And I found the recent discourse around Kpop Demon Hunters, cosplay, cultural appropriation, and fast fashion to be very interesting because it highlights something that I find to be very important to my cosplays, understanding the meanings behind the characters and what they wear. And before I continue this video, please watch the other videos made by people who are talking about Kpop Demon Hunters and cultural appropriation versus cultural appreciation, especially by Asian content creators and especially by Korean content creators. Do not let me be your only exposure to this topic because this video is more about myself than Kpop Demon Hunters. As a quick recap for the discourse, cosplay content creators will often rush to get a cosplay ready for the next big trending theme, the next big show, the next meme, you name it. In this case, some cosplayers were putting together cosplays just based off of vibes, which led to some insensitive representations of the characters and the movie. Whether or not these content creators were willfully ignorant or malicious or not is not my argument to have, but at minimum they just missed the mark. And that's because Kpop Demon Hunters was still influenced by real life history, giving the outfits and the themes real life cultural relevance. And this is not a new talking point in the cosplay community. There's constant discourse about blackface, dressing up as indigenous people, and even things like how accurate does your cosplay content have to be if you're cosplaying, say, a pedophile. Unfortunately, cosplay content is not always fun and games. Sometimes the things that you're cosplaying are going to have real life implications. This is why I instantly understood the discourse because it wasn't really anything new to me. Most of the time when I cosplay, I don't just dress up as the character, I typically do a deep dive. I'll rewatch clips of the show and the character to understand who the character is, what the relationship is with other characters, and how that character fits into the world that they exist in. By doing this, I can understand how I want to portray them and what messages and themes I want to give off. And I'll also research what the character is wearing and why they're wearing it, which not only helps me how to figure out how to translate their clothing into real life, but it also helps me to play my content on a more specific level. And because of this, it actually took me a while to call myself a cosplayer because I just didn't really feel like one. I'm not a very big crafter, I can't really build things yet, I can't sew yet. But I have researched the history of menswear, the influence of a certain martial art on a character's portrayal, or why a certain song was composed a certain way for a specific scene. I'm still procrastinating over a year later, but when I was working on my Owatsu cosplay from Bleach, part of the reason it's been taking me a while to execute is because I didn't just want to buy an Owatsu cosplay, but I was looking up the history behind each of the garments that the Shinigami wore, what they're based off of in real life. That way I can find the actual materials and put together an outfit that looks and feels more authentic. So even though I'm not super fashionable in real life, because of this I do often feel more like a fashion content creator who has a history in photography and videography more than I feel like a cosplayer. Which brings me to Nana. I know this video is all over the place, but I'm trying. So recently I watched Nana and I started cosplaying from there, and I got a lot of positive feedback from my cosplays, which I'm very grateful for. But did you know I was very nervous about cosplaying from Nana? Well, now you do. When I initially heard about Nana, I heard things like relationship issues, emo, the Vivienne Westwood necklace. But as I started to watch Nana and learn more about the characters, I knew that if I wanted to cosplay them, I wanted to research punk, Vivienne Westwood, and the Sex Pistols. Because punk is not an aesthetic, it's a subculture. It's a way of thinking, it's a way of living. Am I punk? No. Are there elements of my life that are inherently punk? Yes. But I'm a poser. Cosplay is posing, it's just about how well you can pose. And in this case, even though I knew that I was still going to be a poser, and I personally have not seen any discourse about Nana cosplayers being historically accurate, I still wanted to pay some respects to the punk movement. So going back to this question, me personally, I'm very aware that Vivienne Westwood wasn't just some trendy fashion designer, but she was specifically important to punk fashion and the punk movement. It's almost like coming to my page and seeing one viral hockey dance video and questioning if I even understand the character at all. There's like 99 other videos for you to watch. I'm also aware of Westwood's involvement with the Sex Pistols, how the Sex Pistols even influence the character designs in Nana, and I also have a basic understanding of the punk movement and what it represents. I'm typically known for being very clean and precise, so the idea of crafting clothes, tearing them myself, painting them, learning different styles was very new to me, very scary, but very freeing. Every mistake I made my cosplays feel a little bit more authentic and punk. Despite all this, I also know that Nana itself is not very punk. Who said that? I mentioned this before, but I'll say it again, but anime is not real life. Nana is influenced by Vivienne Westwood, the Sex Pistols, and punk, but through the lens of a Japanese author who grew up in Japan. In the same way that hip-hop around the world does not look the same as hip-hop in America, which does not look the same as hip-hop in the Bronx, punk in England or America does not look the same as punk in Japan. And once I started to understand what punk music actually was, I realized that none or almost none of the music in Nana is actually punk, at least I think. The character's plot and themes are definitely influenced by punk, but it's still its own story. And that's where I, as a content creator, come in. So far I haven't really done too much punky content because that's not really what Nana is either, I've been having a lot of creative freedom. But at the same time, I am trying to work on some content featuring the Sex Pistols and talking more about the punk movement, because I personally enjoy using my content to show the characters in their entirety. Their fun moments, their sad moments, and even pointing out the things that they're relating to in real life. But that's just me, right? Everyone does not have to be that detailed, everyone can't be that detailed. But the option to be more informed about your cosplays is there. I don't just put on the suit to cosplay Nanami, I understand why him wearing the suit is important to the plot. I chose to dissect Hakudi's hairstyle, the clothes he wears, the importance of Tyler the Creator, to further understand his character. When I was getting my cosplay ready for Nobu, instead of just painting it how it appears in the anime, I looked up the history behind his shirt and went the extra mile to paint the details to make him more authentic. All this to say, cosplay can be a great way for you to learn about history and fashion as well as yourself through the exploration of that history and fashion.